Hello. Once again, it is I, the Bruce Wayne of Azure Lane, OG Investigator, back at it again with another Azure Lane video. Now, someone requested I give the top 10s, in my opinion, in each class of ship. So top 10 destroyers, top 10 light cruisers, top 10 heavy cruisers, top 10 battleships, top 10 carriers. And I decided to start off with top 10 destroyers. Now, to make it on my list, you can't just have good stats or just be good in one particular area. You have to be good within the context of the game. And when I say that, I mean, I'm talking about effectiveness and actual usability in the main campaign, in PvP, in Operation Siren, or in any of the events. So a perfect example of this is Alan M. Sumner. And by that I mean she did not make it on my list at all. She is a good destroyer. She has very good stats. But the thing is, her main gimmick is that she has an anti-air ghost gun. So she brings support level AA, but she is not really that much of a priority in terms of use in the game. Like, there's so many light cruisers that do her job better. If I could bring one of those, I never really found a reason to ever use Alan M. Sumner. So she did not even make it on my list of top 10s, even though by all stats, she is a great destroyer. She did not make it on my list. So I made this graphic here. It's a list of the top 10s, in my opinion, that are the best destroyers. So I'll start with my number 10 destroyer, Suzuki. Now, if you go over to Suzuki, she has great health for a destroyer. She has decent torpedoes, but here's the thing: is she has main gun mount +1, and then her skills are actually very good for the Vanguard and for your whole fleet. So Suzuki breaking through at the start of the battle for each Sakura Empire ship in the same fleet as this ship, including self, increase this ship's firepower and AA by 5% until the end of the battle. For every 2 enemy aircraft shot down within your fleet's anti-air gun range, gain another stack of this buff. This buff may stack up to 6 times. And then her second skill, which is the more important one. 3 seconds after the start of the battle, fire a special barrage and deploy a smoke screen that lasts for 5 seconds. Allied ships inside the smoke screen gain 40% evasion rate. Every 15 seconds at the start of the battle, fire the same barrage and 30% chance to deploy another smoke screen. Once per battle, when this ship's HP falls below 20%, heals this ship for 15% of its max HP. That is no small self-heal. So she is highly survivable, and she releases these smoke screens that protect your Vanguard pretty well. But she also has main gun mount +1 on top of these very good skills and very good stats. So Suzuki, number 10, very usable in all the content of the game. Highly recommended. Now let's go to my number 9, which is Tashkent. Now, I remember when Tashkent first entered the game, one of the things I was thinking was, I knew Russian bias was going to enter Azure Lane somehow. So Tashkent has incredibly high health for a destroyer. Her health approaches like the lower end of light cruisers. And then on top of that, she has very high firepower and very high gun efficiency. 165% is astoundingly high for a destroyer. Now, when you go to her skills, so the blue cruiser, at the start of the battle, increases this ship's firepower by 10% and spawns Snezhinka, a summon which lasts for 50 seconds and lowers the speed of enemies hit by 1.5%, stacking up to 15% for 4 seconds. Additionally, when this ship sinks an enemy, increases this ship's firepower by 2%. Can be stacked up to 5 times. So keep in mind, this is basically a main gun mount +1 that adds a slow, and she can fire this for 50 seconds, which is incredibly good for a destroyer. Now, our second skill, trajectory marking. At the start of the battle, increases main gun efficiency by 10% and accuracy by 15% for all your Northern Parliament destroyers that have a Northern Parliament main gun equipped. Now, this is actually mainly a skill used to buff herself, but it's very good. And when it comes to fighting mobs, she is absolutely a decimator of everything on the screen. Now, the fact that she has the Tashkent gun, it means that she's very good against medium and light armor, but most enemies in the game are medium and light armor anyway. So she's highly effective for most enemies. And on top of that, the fact is she's very tanky because she has this very high health stat, and she still has the evasion of a destroyer. So she can survive through most things that most other destroyers would not make it through. So Tashkent, highly recommended. And then my number 8, Wakatsuki. So you go over to Wakatsuki here, and Wakatsuki also has high health for a destroyer, but she has main gun mount +1. And then if you go to her skills are surprisingly good. So Swallow Sword Dance every 10 seconds increases this ship's firepower and AA by 5%. Fires a level 10 special barrage that penetrates enemy shields. And then increases this ship's damage dealt to enemies hit by this barrage's slash attack by 10%, and decreases this ship's cannon and torpedo damage taken from those enemies by 10%. So she has a slashing attack, and immediately when she slashes an enemy, she deals 10% more damage to that enemy, and that enemy does 10% less to herself, which is impressive. But she can, seeing as there's so many new enemies that have shields, the fact that she can just get through enemy shields is incredibly valuable. And it looks like we're gonna, like, more enemies now in the future are gonna have shields. So this is an incredibly useful skill. Now, Imperturbable Heart. When the battle starts, increases this ship's ASW by 15%, grants this ship a special ASW weapon. Every 15 seconds performs a sonar scan that renders enemy subs detected for 8 seconds. When sorted with an Wakatsuki class DD, increases this ship's EVA by 15%. Once per battle, when a ship in your vanguard falls below 30% HP as a result of damage taken, that ship evades all attacks for 2 seconds and gains a shield that can block up to 6% of Wakatsuki's max HP in damage. This skill has so much utility. So she is an excellent anti-submarine ship, which, need I remind you, there's so many new levels with anti-sub, or with subs in the maps as enemies. So we keep encountering more and more subs, and she's equipped for dealing with that job. And on top of that, the skill with her buffing other Wakatsuki class DDs, that's not that important. But the fact that she can support anyone in your vanguard when they fall below 30%, that actually is important. So this skill has so much utility, it's ridiculous. And on top of all this, main gun mount +1. Highly, highly recommended. Now for my number 7, Stephen Potter. So I have repeatedly praised how much utility Stephen Potter has in my previous videos, but I'll just go and show you why she would be number 8 in this lineup. So Her health is okay, but she has skills that buff her survivability. So, Whimsical Protector. This is pretty much, in my opinion, one of the best PvP skills in the game. At the start of the battle, increases this ship's AA and EVA by 15% for 60 seconds. While there are 3 ships in your vanguard and this ship is in the middle position, decreases damage taken by your vanguard's frontmost ship by 10% for 50 seconds, and increases damage dealt by your vanguard's backmost ship by 10% for 50 seconds. So she makes your main tank tankier, and she makes your off tank more of a damage dealer. And this is for 50 seconds. That is an eternity in Azur lane. And then she buffs her own survivability for 60 seconds. That is an eternity in Azur lane. And on top of that, she has the air raid assistance skill, which increases the damage of all your carriers by 15% as long as she's alive. But as far as any ship with the air raid assistance skill, she is the second most survivable, with the first being Bologna. So she buffs your carriers and she buffs your vanguard all at the same time. And she's got the very reliable stats of a Fletcher class destroyer. So this destroyer is incredibly useful, not just in PvP, but in all other content of the game. This is the most, like, I put this in my main boss fleet to support my carriers, and this destroyer has the most utility out of all destroyers in Eagle Union. Highly recommended. Stephen Potter, number 8. Now going back up to my number 6, Kazagumo. Now if you go over to Kazagumo, in all honesty, she is one step above Stephen Potter in most regards. So if you look at Kazagumo, she has, okay health. But she has this astoundingly high torp stat. And then she has 160 efficiency on her torpedoes, which is very lethal. Now you go over to her skills. Gales and Thunder increases this ship's torp by 5% and reload by 15%. When this ship's all-out assault activates, decreases the loading time of this ship's next torpedo wave by 3 seconds. So she fires torpedoes really fast, and her torpedoes are highly powerful and effective. And then you go to her second skill, Kazagumo's Air Raid Assistance. As long as this ship is afloat, increases all damage dealt by CVs and CVLs in your fleet by 15%. When this ship fires her fourth wave of torpedoes, restores 10% HP for the lowest HP CV or CVL currently afloat in your fleet. If your flagship is a CV but not a CVL, restore an additional 5% HP for that ship. That is incredibly useful. This is like, the best air raid assistance for carriers. So she basically offers her carriers a heal. And if you have your CV being a flagship, you get extra heal. And she increases their damage. And then on top of that, she deals an amazing amount of damage her own self. The one, I would say, thing where she falls behind Stephen Potter is her survivability. But if you stick her in an IJN faction fleet, a carrier-based IJN faction fleet, she is invaluable. She should be #1 choice for supporting IJN carriers. So, Kazagumo. Highly recommended. Now, my number 5, Jarvis. So you go over to Jarvis here. By the way, I have my coffee. Oh, so good. I'm convinced if there is a God, he likes us because he gave us coffee. The almighty coffee bean. Anyway, back to Jarvis. So if you go to Jarvis, her health is it's okay-ish. So, but this is made up for by her first skill. And on top of that, she has very good torpedoes and also considerably good torpedo stat. You know, it's not in that, you know, top tier IJN classes, but it's pretty damn good. And she has a decent gun, which I can't say for a lot of Japanese destroyers. Now you go over to her first skill. Please take care. Increases this ship's firepower anti-sub by 10%. 20 seconds after the battle starts. Restores 5% of max HP to all ships in your vanguard. That is very good. When the battle starts, if there are 3 or more Royal Navy ships in your fleet, increases your Royal Navy DD's anti-sub firepower and torp by 10%. That's not that important. What's important is this heal. 5% max HP for the heal. That's very good. She's an automatic heal for your vanguard. Now, if you go to her next skill, Lucky Jarvis, decreases this ship's damage taken by aircraft by 10%. When the battle starts, if the vanguard consists of only DDs or CLs, increases this ship's torp by 10%, decreases her torpedo damage taken by 20%. When the battle starts, if there are 3 ships afloat in your vanguard and this ship is in the frontmost position, when this ship takes damage, 15% to increase this ship's evasion rate by 30% for 10 seconds. That is solidly good. On top of that, she has like very good since she's a very good anti-sub ship, and keep in mind we keep finding anti-sub ship or anti-sub needs in our future maps, because we always find it seems like almost every new event has a bunch of subs now. Jarvis's usefulness is not going away anytime soon, but the fact that she has that heal means she's even useful when there are no subs. So Jarvis, incredibly good. Definitely worthy of the number 5 spot on my list. And now when you go to number 4, I put these ships together because they're almost virtually the same ship, just like 2 different flavors. So Anshan and Chun. Now you go over here to their stats. Chun, their stats are roughly the same. So they both have main gun mount +1, and they have very good health, very good firepower. And then you go to their skills. So increases the firepower, reload, and accuracy of all Northern Parliament and Dragon Emperor ships in the Vanguard fleet by 12%, and increases their firepower, torpedo, and AA by 12% for all your Northern Parliament, Dragon Emperor main fleet ships. That is an incredibly good support skill, especially if you use Northern Parliament and Dragon Emperor ships. Well, it's only good for them, but I mean, that's a very good supporting skill. And then you go to our next skill. Retrofit White Tiger's Prance. Provides 1 missile strike charge. Decreases the duration this ship burns by 3 seconds and decreases her burn damage taken by 15%. Every 15 seconds, fires a level 10 special barrage that increases torpedo damage taken by 8% for enemies, or for 6 seconds to enemies hit. So both Anshan and Chun have retrofits that turn them into guided missile destroyers, and the missiles do very, very good damage to light armor, and then their damage tips off at medium armor and then goes downhill against heavy armor. But the missiles are guided, so you're almost guaranteed to hit is the thing, and that's very good for a destroyer. And another thing is this: you can increase the missile's effectiveness because its damage is based off of torp stat. So you can add rainbow torpedoes to her auxiliary slot, and those missiles will be much more like that, more powerful. And it's almost a guaranteed hit, I would say. I've never seen a miss so far. So both of these, and if you go to Anshan, she has roughly the same stats, but her skills are just a little different. So her first skill increases firepower, accuracy, and torpedo by 25% and evasion by 10% for all Anshan class destroyers in your fleet. That one's good if you sortie her with Chang, but that's not that important. Look at the next one. Provides 1 missile strike charge, decreases the duration this ship burns. Well, I'll just tell you the difference. It's the same skill, but here's the difference. Chang's missile weakens the enemy to torpedo damage. Anshan's inflicts armor break for 6 seconds. So both of these missiles basically debuff the enemy considerably. And then on top of that, both of these ships have main gun mount +1. So that's very, very good. And the decent firepower on both of them too. That's very good utility. So Anshan and Chun, highly recommended. Now you go to my number 3, Kitikaze. And I named her on number 3 mainly exclusively for PvP. Not PvP, Operation Siren. So if you look at her health, she has very good health for a destroyer. It's like Tashkent, she has health in the lower end of light cruisers. And then on top of that, she has destroyer level evasion. So she is very tanky for a destroyer. And then you go to her skills, and she's a gun-based destroyer, but she also has decent torpedoes. So Kitikaze, Style Horizon Splitter. Main gun's ammo is changed to normal with 115 all for all modifiers. If equipped with an IJN DD gun, increases main gun efficiency by 15%. That is very good. Then you go to her Kitikaze style Lotus torpedoes. Oh no, wait, I'll just go to the refit one, or the main, was it the Fate Simulation one? So 10 seconds after the start of the battle, fires a special torpedo barrage and decreases this ship's damage taken by 6% for 50 seconds. After every 8 hits with this ship's torpedoes, fires the same barrage. So she is very, very tanky. And on top of all this, she has main gun mount +1. And then you go down to Siren Killer skill. So she has a 15% damage increase to all sirens. This is a very good destroyer for Operation Siren. Incredibly good. So, Kitikaze, highly, highly recommended. Now, you go up here to my number 2, Udashi Retrofit. So, I'll just go to Udashi right here, and you can see real fast, like, she was a mediocre, but, you know, she wasn't necessarily mediocre. She was pretty good before her retrofit, but after her retrofit, she's, like, astoundingly good. So her health is nothing impressive. But, she has an okay main gun, and she has main gun mount +1. But she has also a very, very high torp stat. So, very good torpedoes. And then you go to her skills. So I'll just use her retrofit skill. Nightmare of the Salmon Plus, giving the following effects. Increases this ship's firepower, torpedo, reload, and evasion by 20%. Increases this ship's damage against ignited enemies by 15%. For the first 30 seconds of a battle, increases all Vanguard ships' torpedo crit rate by 10% and torpedo crit damage by 25%. So she buffs all torpedo users in the Vanguard, and she does 15% more damage to all enemies on fire. Damn, it'd be a shame if she had a skill that set enemies on fire. So, her next skill, Feral Claws, increases this ship's evasion rate by 5% and decrease her damage taken from shelling by 15%. That is an incredibly good survival skill for destroyers, because what does the most damage to destroyers is shelling damage. So she takes a nice chunk of that out of the equation and has good evasion. So very good survivability. Every 20 seconds after the battle starts, fires a special barrage that inflicts inflicts a unique burn on all enemies hit. So what is a unique burn? A unique burn is a burn that stacks on top of other burns. So she sets enemies on fire on top of fires that they may already have, and then she does 15% more damage to enemies on fire. That's almost evil. Yeah. So, and she has very good torpedo efficiency and very good torpedoes on top of that. So, I don't know what to tell you. This destroyer, the amount of utility Udashi has, especially for a torpedo-based Vanguard, is ridiculous. Highly, highly recommended. And now for my number one. Drum roll, please. I would do that if I had drums. Shimakaze, which I don't think this comes as a surprise to anyone. If you go to Shimakaze, she has decent health for a destroyer, but she has the highest torp stat. 609. That torp stat is ridiculous. And then her torpedo efficiency is 170%. That's ridiculous. And then you go to her skills. And I'll just show you her skills. They're all ridiculous. Upon the wind's edge. When the ship fires her torpedoes, fires a level 10 special barrage and executes a slashing attack, enemies hit by this slashing attack take 8% increased damage from this ship for 3 seconds. Inflicts a unique flooding ailment, lasts 6 seconds to enemies hit by her torpedoes. Deals 179 damage per tick. 1 tick occurs every 3 seconds. Dang, so she hits an enemy with torpedoes and that enemy starts bleeding health. Before the lightning's flash. So her next skill, at the start of the battle, when this ship's torpedoes finish reloading for 10 seconds, decreases this ship's damage taken by 15%. Increases her torpedo damage dealt by 12%. Increases your Vanguard's speed by 3. Wow. So, effect cannot be stacked. So, she increases your Vanguard's speed by 3. And then she gives herself a nice survivability buff. And on top of her already, insane torpedo stats, she deals 12% more torpedo damage. And her torpedoes make the enemy bleed health. Wow. So, within the Thunder's Roar, her next skill increases this ship's accuracy by 15%, decreases her damage taken from torpedoes by 10%. While this ship is afloat, when a fleet this ship is not in engages in battle, increases torpedo for all DDs in that fleet by 10% for the full battle. 30 seconds into that battle, fires a supporting torpedo barrage. So that is a very good utility. So she'll send torpedoes to help your other fleet. And then she has her own accuracy increaser. And she also increases her own survivability against torpedoes. So Shimakaze is a beast. Yeah, this is the undisputed champion of destroyers by far. I don't know what else to say. Highly recommended. So anyway, that's my list for the top 10 destroyers. I don't know why it went out like this. Hold on a second. There's nothing to show here. What do you mean by that? Okay, wait. I'm gonna open my saved pictures. No, wait. I'm gonna pull this photo back up. So this is my list right here. And I'm going to post this probably in my community tab, I guess. But these are my top 10 destroyers. And this has been a pleasure making this video for you all. So let me know what destroyers you personally favor for use in these in most of the content of the game. And this is OG Investigator signing off. If you like my content, please like and subscribe. And take it easy, guys.